is what is called as the hurdle rate, the cost of finance. Unless the internal rate of return is more than the cost of finance, nobody would come to invest. And that is what has happened. The IRR on a global range is between 8 to 12%. In India, it is only 6 to 8%. Therefore, PPP mode projects will have problems unless the cost of borrowing goes down. Something has to be done about cost of capital in this country. Not now, it has not happened before. I think a signal has to come from government at some time. So now I want to talk about the time lag, the time delays. So according to the Ministry of Surface Transport, MOSPI, it is in their database. December 2021, as of December 2021, out of 1,673 total projects, 25%, approximately 445, have incurred a cost overrun. 557, that is 30%, are delayed with an average time run of 45.69 months. So where does the multiplier effect come in? The multiplier effect gets delayed. The trickle down gets delayed. The wage creation at the bottom of the pyramid gets delayed. And that is what has happened in the private, that is what has happened so far for not being able to generate the gross fixed capital formation. And this has resulted in what we have discussed so far. Many members have discussed, and therefore I am not going to discuss about unemployment. What about the social sector? I said it is undernourished. Out of 21 primary sectors, I do not take the total allocation as a percentage of the total budgeted BE this year, but I'm taking it as a percentage of the GDP. Out of 21 sectors, in 8 sectors it has decreased as a percentage of GDP compared to last year. In 8 sectors there are no change. In 5 sectors it is marginal increase to the extent of 0.1%. Therefore there is nothing which has happened in the social sector. Then how do you create a level playing field? In the entire budget, one has talked about opportunities to be given, opportunities being created, and we know opportunities can be created only when we spend on things like health and education. I will talk about these two things, health and education now. Now, as far as health is concerned, the budget started with health, and I thought that the allocations would have become astoundingly high. Currently, if we look at the allocations in health, it is 0.33% of the GDP, which is less than the last year and less than or even almost equal to the last year before last. We currently have 1 bed per 1,000 people against global average of 2.9. We are lower than even the BRIC countries. We have 1 doctor per 1,500 when the requirement is per 1,000. We have 1 nurse for 670 when the requirement is 1 nurse per 300 as per the 15th Finance Commission report. So the investment in health is definitely required. I look forward to it, and I think there is still some way in which we have to get investment into the health sector in this country, particularly the primary healthcare sector. The Standing Committee had also suggested investment in primary healthcare to be requiring a push, a definitive push. Now I talk about agriculture. Now, if I talk about agriculture, I would like to say that unless the Swaminathan Committee report is implemented as has been demanded by Honorable Chief Minister of Orissa several times, the farmers' income probably cannot get doubled. In fact, the budget doesn't talk about doubling of farmers' income as of 2022 at all. The procurement has decreased from 126 to 120.8 metric ton. Number of farmers who have been benefited has decreased from 19.7 million to 16.3 million. The reduction in the price support schemes, which does the procurement, is to the extent of about 62%. At a time when we are talking about empowering the farmers, increasing their income, the procurement allocation has come down, and it is a matter of concern. What is also a matter of concern is the fact that Agricultural Investment Fund, in which 1 lakh crore was supposed to be spent in 6 years, After 2 years, the spending is 6,627 crore only, that is approved. Spending is a mere 2.6%, 2,654 crore. So at the rural economy level, at the agriculture level, there is tremendous amount of distress.
Please
so
conclude, Dr. Ji.
Finally, I will end by talking about...
Your last minute.
1 minute, yeah. Finally, I'll talk about federal equity. Now, if we talk about federal equity, the amount of resource allocation to the states, as Honorable Prime Minister said yesterday, it is in the states' development that the development of the country can take place. But what has happened that the percentage of devolution to the state as a percentage of total gross tax revenue has declined from 30.02% to 29.61%. And the quantum of cess, however, which is completely appropriated by the center, has increased from 3.7 lakh crores to 4.45 lakh crores. I can tell you, since I do not have the time, that if you do a calculation of the cess and surcharge which was levied on education and health, one in 2004-05, the other in 2018, and take that allocation out of the current allocation, then you find an abysmal figure as the percentage of investment on education and health, which is a matter of worry.
Please conclude, sir.
My point of saying all this is that, Madam Finance Minister, that definitely there is growth in the economy, definitely there is a direction on climate change, there is a definite direction on using technology for giving benefits, which is very positive. But the problem is, all is still not well. It is not business as usual. The rural economy may not be under distress, but it is under stress. And therefore, the emphasis on rural economy in terms of NREGS, in terms of investment in agricultural investment fund, in terms of providing housing, has to continue. As far as housing is concerned, I must bring to the notice of this House that the Prime Minister, Honorable Prime Minister, said housing for all by 2022. Then why not to 8.5 lakh Udiyas? Let them be Lakhpatis. Let them be Lakhpatis. The figure, the prayer of the government of Orissa is pending for so long. So I would end once again by thanking the Prime Minister for the budget proposals, for giving a direction, and would request her to consider the suggestions given by me. Thank you so much.
The next speaker, Shri K.R. Suresh Reddy.
Thank you, Chair. So I rise to congratulate the Finance Minister on a fourth consecutive speech. A budget 4 in a row is a new mantra, as they say in cricket. 4 in a row is a new mantra. Hat-trick is over now. Anyone who bowls and takes 4 in a row is a sure match winner. I hope this would happen even here. But when I heard the Honorable Finance Minister's speech for 90 minutes, the only thing confident I could see was her delivering the speech. Today, with great and a heavy heart, I must tell the Finance Minister that her 90-minute speech has left 90 crore Indians out of her budget. I say this for the following reasons, sir. Because this proclaimed progressive budget has alienated a majority of the poor people. I say this because agriculture, which is the backbone of our country, and Kisan, the ever-burden bearer, which constitutes 60% of the workforce agriculture, contributing 18% to GDP, and out of which, in the entire agriculture, 82% of them are small and marginal farmers, having small holdings of 1 to 5 acres. This Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav and entering into Amrit Kal without tangible progressive opportunities to farmers is regressive and Rahu Kal for them. Para 28 of the budget speech of the Finance Minister mentions about the rice and wheat procurement. उसमें बड़े जोर से मैडम ने बताया कि 2,37,00,000 crores हमने डायरेक्ट पेमेंट किया 163 लाख फार्मर्स को। जब ये बात आई तो मैं नोटिस किया सर हाउस में कि तालियां कम बजे उसमें, तालियां सिर्फ मैडम के लेफ्ट साइड से थोड़ा बहुत बचा, मगर ओवरऑल हाउस में वो मूड नहीं था। और उसकी वजह ये मैं समझता हूं कि ये साल 2022 was the year of the promise. The promise was to double the farmers' income. इसका मतलब ये है कि तालियां ज्यादा बजते थे अगर आपके अनाउंसमेंट में इंस्टेड ऑफ 2,37 लाख करोड़ अगर आप बताते कि हमने 4,74 लाख करोड़ हमने किसानों को ट्रांसफर किया, तो बात होती थी कि भाई हमारा इनकम डबल हुआ। मगर आप ये बात को मानने को तैयार नहीं है, डबल करने की इच्छा नहीं दिख रही आपके पॉलिसीज में, तो छोटा मोटा चॉकलेट की तरह कुछ पॉलिसीज बताते रहते हैं आप। फॉर एग्जाम्पल आपका प्राइम मिनिस्टर किसान प्रोग्राम, तो उसमें आप बताएं कि हम 70,000 करोड़ फार्मर्स को जो है सो हम बांटे, और इसको कहते हैं डबलिंग द इनकम तो नहीं होता, ये अश्योर्ड इनकम है। अगर आप 4 लाख, जैसे मैं बताया 4,74,000 में आप ये 2,37 लाख करोड़ आप बचाए क्योंकि डबल नहीं किए, और ये 2,37 लाख करोड़ में आपका 70,000 भी अगर हम निकालते हैं तो फिर भी आज ये गवर्नमेंट 1,67,000 करोड़ आप एमएसपी फार्मर इनकम डबल ना करने से सरकार ने ये पैसे बचा लिया है। सर अगर आप कहते हैं कि भाई एमएसपी हम तो कुछ बढ़ाते गए, तो आप देखिए एग्रीकल्चर का जो इनपुट होता है किसान का, वो भी वही अंदाज से और ज्यादा अंदाज से बढ़ गया है। आप इसके साथ साथ प्रोक्योरमेंट में 10,000 करोड़ इस साल आप कम कर चुके हैं। आपका रीसेंट प्रोक्योरमेंट पॉलिसी जो हमको तेलंगाना एक उदाहरण है कि पैडी प्रोक्योरमेंट में किसान को, तेलंगाना सरकार को कितने कठिनाइयां आपने करवाया कि भाई वी हैड टू कम विद अ बेगिंग बोल, चीफ मिनिस्टर हैड टू कम, रिक्वेस्ट द गवर्नमेंट, plead in the government. Half the cabinet was here, entire MPs were camping here, most of the MLAs were here, just requesting the government कि भाई आप हमारा प्रोड्यूस लेंगे नहीं लेंगे, रबी में आप लेंगे नहीं लेंगे। तो आपका पॉलिसी इतना वेग है कि हमने पूछा कि रबी का प्रोक्योरमेंट आप लेंगे, तो आपने बताया कि आज नहीं, हम मार्च में करेंगे अनाउंसमेंट। जब किसान का काम शुरू होता है दिसंबर में, आप मार्च में बताने की बात, ये आपका किस तरीके से आपका पॉलिसी है, किस तरीके से किसान खेती को आप देखते। एक छोटा सा मिसाल है, ये कोई स्विगी सर्विस नहीं है कि जब भूख लगा जब खाना मंगाए आप, क्योंकि किसान को तो टाइम लगता है। ये दिसंबर से लेके मार्च अप्रैल तक ये काम चलते रहती है, और उसका जो है सो आई फील वेरी अनफॉर्चुनेट कि भाई इसमें किसान को ये तकलीफ उठाना पड़ा। साहब एक असेसमेंट हुआ था, सिचुएशंस असेसमेंट सर्वे ऑफ फार्मर्स, उन्होंने बताया कि आज के हालात में जो खेतीबाड़ी करता है उसका 40% आमदनी और कम होते जा रही है। और देखिए लाठी पे लाठी किसान पे, इसके साथ साथ और क्या हो रहा है, आपका फर्टिलाइजर सब्सिडी आप कम कर दिए, आप करीबन 35 to 40,000 करोड़ आप इस बजट में कम कर चुके हैं। इसमें किसान की तकलीफ और बढ़ेगी। फूड सब्सिडी आपने 80,000 करोड़ कम करे। सेंट्रल मार्केट इंटरवेंशन स्कीम जो करीबन 3,596 करोड़ का था, उसको आप कम करके 1,500 करोड़ पे लाए। क्रॉप इंश्योरेंस आपने करीबन 16,000 करोड़ से 15,000 करोड़ पे लाए। प्राइस स्टेबलाइजेशन फंड 2,700 करोड़ से 1,500 करोड़ तक लाए। और इवन रिसर्च, एग्रीकल्चर रिसर्च पे सिर्फ 500 करोड़ लगाए, ताकि मल्टीनेशनल कंपनीज लाइक बेयर दे टेंड टू स्पेंड मोर। सर
Reddy ji, your last minute.
I'm already the last.
No, yes, your party has given you 8 minutes.
और 5 मिनट है सर।
8 minutes, you have completed.
No, 12 minutes I was told, sir.
No, 8 minutes is given and 7 minutes is over.
Sir.
Second speaker is not speaking, he is speaking.
Then it is okay.
So what is my entire time now, sir?
Now another 8 minutes you have.
Thank you, sir. Sir, इसके साथ साथ मनरेगा का डिमांड बढ़ रहा है, बट आपका बजट एलोकेशंस कम हो रहे हैं साहब. आप डिमांड ड्रिवन बोल रहे हैं. जब डिमांड ड्रिवन है तो जो ग्रामीण लेबर है उनको विश्वास, कॉन्फिडेंस क्यों नहीं बिल्ड करते? जब 1,11,000 करोड़ खर्च हुआ था 2 years बैक, तो आप बताइए इस साल भी हम आपके साथ ठहरेंगे. कम करते जा रहे हैं कि उस पर ज्यादा भरोसा मत करो. हो सकता है आपके कुछ कारण हो सकते हैं आपका, मगर मैं ये कहना चाह रहा हूं कि the sheer unemployment pressure in the rural India will force and compel the government to increase the allocation. अगर आपका दिल नहीं मानता बढ़ाने के लिए, मगर वहां की जरूरतें आपको मजबूर करेगा कि आप बढ़ाना पड़ेगा, क्योंकि इसके अलावा आपके पास कुछ और है ही नहीं इस पे. सर, there was some apprehensions in the government कि भाई ये misuse हो रहा है and it needs to be revamped, या एसेट क्रिएशन ठीक नहीं हो रहा. पहले से करीबन 5-6 साल से केसीआर साहब हमारे मुख्यमंत्री जी लगातार कहते आ रहे कि भाई इसको आप एग्रीकल्चर से जुड़ाइए. लिंकिंग अप विद एग्रीकल्चर विल क्रिएट सम रिलीफ फॉर द फार्मर. इट विल ऑल्सो इंश्योर कि आपका मिसयूज की जो आरोप है या एसेट क्रिएशन का जो डाउट है, ये सब अगर किसान के साथ आप मिलाएंगे तो ये सब ठीक होगा. क्योंकि किसान एक ईमानदार है, प्राण जाएगा पर वचन न जाएगा, तो ईमानदार रहेगा. आपका हर एक पैसे का हिसाब किताब आपको वो बताएगा. सो लिंक इट अप विद एग्रीकल्चर इज द रिक्वेस्ट सर. सर, एग्रीकल्चर की प्रॉफिटेबिलिटी, अगर आपका इनकम डबल करना चाहते हैं तो इसकी ग्रोथ रेट 3.5% नहीं बल्कि 14% एग्रीकल्चर का रहना चाहिए. 14% हो रहा है. तेलंगाना इज एन लाइव एग्जाम्पल. Telangana agriculture is growing at 14%. Here, overall, it's going at 3.5%. And unless you bring it to a reasonable height, the doubling of incomes will only be a mirage, will only be a dream, sir. इसीलिए आज तेलंगाना में जो पहले तेलंगाना बनने से पहले आम लेबर किसान जो दुबई मस्कट नौकरी के लिए जाते थे, वो सब वापस आ रहे. आज आराम से सुकून से उनकी खेती बाड़ी की काम हो रही है और गाँव में बिल्कुल nice livelihood is given to them and a brotherhood is spreading, sir. So, para 30 to 35 of the budget speech, the finance minister talks about a lot of private participation in agriculture, private agri-tech players, PPP mode, financial startups, money creation of unicorns. Going by our past experience, ये बातें देखे तो सुने तो हमको ये डर महसूस हो रहा है ऑनरेबल चेयर कि कहीं से ये 3 एग्रीकल्चर लॉस जो है कहीं बैकडोर एंट्री तो नहीं हो रहा है. तो इसीलिए दिस इज एन अप्रहेंशन वी नीड टू क्लियर, क्योंकि द स्लो रिकवरी इन कंजम्पशन is the reduced profitability of agriculture, which squeeze the reduced incomes and demand. The evidence is very clear. आज एग्रीकल्चर का प्रोड्यूस का जो परसेंटेज राइस है वो सिर्फ 5.2 है और अदर नॉन एग्रीकल्चर्स का 11.4% है. और ये मनरेगा का डिमांड बढ़ने का वजह ये है क्योंकि एग्रीकल्चर में मुनाफा नहीं है. एग्रीकल्चर लैंड ओनर भी लैंड लेबरर बन रहा है. दिस इज अ स्मॉल एग्जांपल. और मैं इस माध्यम से फाइनेंस मिनिस्टर से रिक्वेस्ट करूंगा कि आप इस देश को यू हैव टू अश्योर द कंट्री, यू हैव टू अश्योर द फार्मर्स दैट एमएसपी विल रिमेन. और इस आप आजादी का अमृत महोत्सव पर आप ये भी बताइए, आप कहीं आपके प्लान्स बताए उसमें एक जो है सो एमएसपी रहेगा एंड एमएससीपी विल कंटिन्यू टू स्टे. सर, आफ्टर एग्रीकल्चर द नेक्स्ट बिगेस्ट एम्प्लॉयमेंट क्रिएटर इज एमएसएमई. और एमएसएमई के बारे में काफ़ी बातचीत हो रही है. सिर्फ एक दो बात मैं यहाँ दौड़ाना चाहता हूँ कि भाई ये करीबन 6.3 करोड़ एमएसएमईस इस देश में हैं और आप दो इसके ऊपर धक्के पे धक्के गिरे, एक मैन मेड और एक जो है सो नेचुरल कैलामिटी. मैन मेड था आपका डीमोनेटाइजेशन और आपका जीएसटी. आप देखिए एमएसएमई में डीमोनेटाइजेशन और जीएसटी के बाद करीबन 10,000 बिजनेस ओनर्स 2019 में सुसाइड करे और 11,716 suicides were committed in 2020. And the biggest impact of your demonetization as per RBI was on MSME was the demonetization. और आप जो भी remedial steps लिए हैं वो लेट थे और कम थे. अब आप पैंडेमिक के बाद आपने कुछ बताया कि भाई हम इंटरेस्ट लोन विदाउट कोलैटरल देने के वायदा किए, बट माय रिक्वेस्ट इज यू हैव टू लुक एट द वेवर ऑफ इंटरेस्ट. जब फैक्ट्रीज बंद थे, एक साल बंद थे, तो उनके ऊपर इंटरेस्ट जो है सो बढ़ते गया, वो आप निकाल दीजिए. और उनके ऊपर फिक्स्ड पावर कॉस्ट था, कारखाना चला या ना चला मगर उनका बिजली का बिल आते गया, वो उसको आप जो है सो ऑब्जर्व करिए. दिस विल बी सम रिलीफ. और ये एमएसएमई के साथ हॉस्पिटैलिटी सेक्टर में भी आपने ये बताया कि भाई हम कुछ पैसे देंगे. हॉस्पिटैलिटी सेक्टर ऑल्सो कंट्रीब्यूट्स अ लॉट टू द जीडीपी, सो व्हाई डोंट यू टेक इट एज एन इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर. The facilities given to infrastructure, long-term learning, etc., should be given to these MSMEs to this hospitality sector, as you've been giving it to the other infrastructure sector. And the other key issue here in Madam Finance Minister's speech was an emphasis on digital, which is very good. Everything digital was a word which came up almost in all the pages. And we appreciate it. Definitely, we change with the times, and you have to. But my agony is, if the same analogy, if the same principle, if the same policy was adopted way back in 2014 or 2015, things would have been much, much better for the country. And a small example for that is the ITIR, the Information Technology Investment Region, which was sanctioned to Hyderabad. You kept it on hold. It was a major, major boost for the country. It was a very creative investment idea where, Chairman Sir, it would have fit into what you call it, your ecosystem, because Hyderabad was also a non-seismic region, less earthquakes. तो उससे अच्छे बड़ा जगह हैदराबाद से जगह बहुत कम है हिंदुस्तान में जहाँ ऐसे इंडस्ट्री सेट कर सकते हैं, मगर आप कुछ नहीं कर सके. ITIR में काफ़ी आपने लापरवाही की, उसकी वजह से करीबन 53 plus 15, almost 70 to 75 lakh jobs have been lost in the last 5-7 years. So this is something, and of course, not to mention about the revenue and other issues. So when yesterday the Prime Minister, when he mentioned about the bifurcation of AP and Telangana, probably this was something playing in his mind. This is what seems to be coming out, because what was mentioned by the Honorable Prime Minister yesterday, sir, it is something very, very disturbing for the people, because it is through a lot of struggle. One of the biggest struggles ever witnessed in the history of India was the bifurcation of Andhra Pradesh. Under the leadership of our Chief Minister, KCR Garu, we went through 14 years of struggle to eventually get it. Agar House mein Telangana ka bill pass hua, to pass hua, kyunki House is supreme. Nobody can question the authority of the House. Nobody can question the authority of the chair. Not even the Prime Minister can question the authority of this House, sir. But yesterday, he raised it. अगर आपको तकलीफ हुआ bifurcation में, मैं पूछना चाह रहा हूं कि कितने बार वो reorganization bill यहाँ पे amendment को आया है? Did you make any amendments in the last 8 years? The demands from Telangana, the demands from Andhra are continuously coming up. But still, you refuse to refer it. You refuse to chair even a single meeting. और वहाँ पे क्या हो रहा है, sir?
Please conclude, sir.
Sir, just 1 minute. So this is an important thing. Just 1 minute, sir. I'm concluding with one last thing. मैं तो काफी पूछते गया, तो एक छोटा सा मेरे को एक WhatsApp का फॉरवर्ड याद आता है कि एक नेता ने अपने दोस्तों को 8-10 लोगों को अपने घर पे चाय पे बुलाया और बोला, भाई मेरे घर में सबसे अच्छा चाय बनती है. तो सबने गए, 10 लोग उम्मीद में कि अच्छा चाय मिलेगा वहां. और जब घर गए और उनके बावर्ची को बोले, भैया चाय बनाओ, तो उन्होंने कहा, सब 30 सेकेंड्स, और चीनी नहीं है. तो उन्होंने कहा, कोई बात नहीं, चाय लाओ. और चाय आ गया. तो वो नेता ने कहा, देखो भाई ये स्पेशल चाय है, मगर इसमें 1 कप में चीनी नहीं है, शुगर नहीं है. जिसको भी वो कप आएगा वो सबको आज रात में भोजन पे ले जाएगा. तो 8-10 लोग जितने भी बैठे वो सब ने कहा कि बहुत अच्छा है, बहुत अच्छा है, किसी ने भी कम नहीं किया। तो मैं भी यही कहूंगा कि वेरी स्वीट बजट, but do justice to our region. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you. The next speaker, Shri Vijay Sai Reddy.
Thank you, Vice Chairman, sir. We should appreciate the Honorable Finance Minister for presenting this budget in most difficult and trying times. Initially, sir, we all thought that it would be Honorable Finance Minister would submit the budget for UP and Punjab. However, as the budget speech of the Honorable Finance Minister went on, and it was nobody's budget, no one's budget. And I can confidently say that it is a stylish budget with no substance. I'm sorry to say that. Sir, to put it in a different words, it's a budget like an operation successful but patient is dead. This budget may be a good budget for the country according to the Honorable Finance Minister, but for AP it is bad and worst. Sir, my point is Atmanirbharata of the states. Honorable Finance Minister on several occasions talks about Atmanirbhar Bharat. But I am asking Madam, what is Atmanirbharata of the states? Not the center, not only the center. The center, according to me, and I'll give the statistics also, Vice Chairman, sir, using manipulative practices to reduce the share of state share of taxes from the central pool of taxes. Sir, center has deliberately I'm using the word, increasing the cess and surcharges in its gross tax revenues, which is not shared with the states. Sir, it has been brought down. The states' share has been brought down. In reality, though the 15th, according to the Honorable Finance Minister, the 15th Finance Commission has recommended 41%. In reality, the real percentage works out to 29%. I can give the figures also, sir. It is not 41%. It is because of cess and surcharges. And I'll give petrol as an example. The central government has collected 3.35 lakh crores by way of cess on petrol, shared just 5.8% of it, that is 19,475 crores with the states. What is shared with the states? In the case of petrol, is only 5.8%. Out of 100 rupees, 5 rupee 80 paisa. Sir, by increasing sir, Honorable Finance Minister has coined a special word, apart from cess and surcharge. Special additional excise duty. This is nothing but cess and surcharge. By increasing the special excise additional duty, nothing but cess, the center has pooled 2.87 lakh crores from which the states are not getting a single rupee, not a single rupee. This is the situation. Sir, the share of tax component in the excise duty, which is shared with the states, has decreased by 40% in the case of petrol and 59% in the case of diesel, sir. Sir, at present, I have a statistics which I would like to, Honorable Madam is present. Sir, in the case of petrol, let us presume that the cost of the petrol is 100 rupees for the sake of brevity. Basic price is 45 rupees. Basic excise duty is 1 rupee 40 paise. And special additional excise duty is 11 rupees. Out of 11 rupees, nothing goes to the state. Nothing. Not a single rupee. Road and infrastructure cess, 18 rupees, nothing goes to the states. Agricultural infrastructure and development cess, 2 rupees 50 paisa, nothing goes to the states. Dealers commission, of course it goes to the dealers. Taxes, whereas the states are empowered to levy VAT in the case of petrol and liquor. What is that? The maximum percentage any states can charge is only 10 to 15%. It varies from 10 to 15%. What is center getting? Central government is getting 85% and states are getting 15%. This is the justice what central government is rendering in the case of taxes, share of taxes. Sir, AP share in the divisible pool, I would like to share with the Honorable Madam. AP state, when compared to the divisible profits, AP share of taxes. In 13th Finance Commission, between 2010 and 2015, AP share is 6.9%. 14th Finance Commission, 2015 to 20, from 6.9% it has come down to 4.3%. It has come down by 2.6%. In 15th Finance Commission, it is 4.07% in 2000, whereas in the previous year, 2020-21, it was 4.111%. So year after year, Andhra Pradesh is getting, the share of taxes is coming down, and it is nothing but a stepmotherly treatment. Honorable Finance Minister is our daughter-in-law of our state. I want everybody to, all the honorable members to know about it. Sir, deciding the state share of taxes, there are certain points, that is population, forest cover, geographical area, there are various parameters. Quite surprisingly, 15% weightage is given for population. Andhra Pradesh is one state which is effectively controlling the population. And those states which are not controlling the population, they are benefited. Those states which are controlling the population, they are punished. This is the formula what the central government is following, or Finance Commission is following. Sir, comparative of AP budget, see on various sectors, how the center is spending and how Andhra Pradesh is spending. Sir, on agriculture, Andhra Pradesh is spending 5.9% of the total expenditure, whereas center, which is agriculture, is considered to be priority sector. Center is only spending 3.8%. Education, Andhra is spending 11.8% and center is spending 2.6%. Health sector, Andhra is spending 6%, center is spending 2.2%. Rural development, Andhra is spending 7.1%, whereas center is spending 5.2%. Whereas my colleague sitting in front of me, Kanakamedala Ravindra, TDP, they criticize that state is not spending enough. And their leader, day in and day out, criticizes YSRCP government, saying that the government has failed in all respects, in all counts. This is how the politics are being played. Sir, the crucial sectors like agriculture, education, health, rural development, social welfare, Andhra Pradesh is spending more than the central government despite severe financial crisis on account of stepmotherly treatment by the central government. Sir, coming to income tax, I would like to bring to the notice of Honorable Madam. Madam, there is a 10% increase in the overall revenues on account of tax revenues. Madam, the tax exemption limit, when you came to power in 2014, was 2,50,000. And now, from 2014 to 2022, what is the inflation? Cumulative inflation is 48%, sir. Whereas, basic tax exemption limit remains the same. And I request the Honorable Madam to link this minimum tax exemption limit with that of inflation rate. Sir, with inflation reaching all-time high, but tax rates remain the same. This is the pathetic situation. And I request the Honorable Madam to further rationalize it and inflation be adjusted, again adjusted IT deductions and exemptions. Madam, there are certain difficulties, because I am also taxpayer and chartered accountant. There are certain difficulties that are being faced by the assessees. One is, there are 5 tedious documents which one has to collect in order to file the tax returns. One is Form 16 from the employer. Second is for interest income TDS certificates in Form 16A. Third is TDS certificates for other income and Form 26 EAS, and tax saving investment and expenditure proofs. These are all the documents which one has to collect in order to file the tax returns. My suggestion in this regard is consolidate multiple compliances across various forms into single ITR form. And form will make ITR, this suggestion would make the form filing IT friendly. Madam, there are certain which many assessees would have brought to the notice of Honorable Finance Minister. There are certain glitches in the portal. Lakhs of taxpayers have been complaining of glitches and errors in income tax portal for months now. There are several occasions where Honorable Madam has extended the time limit for filing the tax returns, and these glitches are to be addressed very promptly, sir. Sir, reduced subsidies, which is very, very important. Sir, food subsidy has been reduced. Center claims that nobody, in fact, in the yesterday's meeting also, the center claims that nobody remained hungry during the pandemic. But the allocation of food subsidy is down by 28%. Sir, fertilizer subsidy. Reduction in fertilizer subsidy is definitely anti-farmer. Increase in the fertilizer prices has severely affected the farmers. And the allocation towards the fertilizer subsidy has been reduced by 25%. Then coming to LPG reduction, subsidy in LPG reduction. Lakhs of poor households rely on LPG subsidy, and center has slashed the allocation by 11%. Sir, certain important aspects regarding the Andhra Pradesh, I am concluding it, sir. Andhra Pradesh particularly, major infrastructure projects. And in fact, in 2014, AP Reorganization Act has been passed. And 13 or 14. South Coastal Railway Zone, Vizag-Chennai Corridor, Polavaram Irrigation Project. In fact, I have submitted I met Honorable Madam and then made a submission also. Kadapa Steel Plant, Dugarajapatnam Port, and Kakinada Petrochemical Complex. These are all the pending issues which are yet to be addressed by the central government, even after considerable lapse of time. Sir, national educational institutions, which the central government has granted by virtue of AP Reorganization Act, all are operating from the rental premises. Not a single national institute has got its own premises. Whether it is, be it Indian Institute of Petroleum and Energy and Indian Institute of Management, Indian Institute of Technology, Central Tribal University, all are operating from temporary campuses, and I should thank Jairam Rameshji for drafting such a loose act, very loosely drafted act of AP Reorganization Act. He very often, now and then, repeatedly claims that he is the author of the AP Reorganization Act, and I am sorry to say that he has drafted it most loosely, sir, and which BJP is taking advantage of it. Sir, in conclusion, the AP leadership, AP BJP leadership, every day now started criticizing our party and government for no reason. What is center doing for AP? That AP BJP will not raise that issue. Center is doing nothing and giving stepmotherly treatment to AP, Andhra Pradesh, whereas Andhra Pradesh BJP day in and day out criticizes the ISRCP government. And in reality, the biggest critic of the central leadership of BJP and the union budget of AP is AP state BJP leadership itself. Sir, finally, in conclusion, I would like to submit to the Honorable Madam that the government claims the mantra, most chanted mantra of BJP government is Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas, Sabka Vishwas, Sabka Prayas. Every year, one element is added to the slogan. Initially it is Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas, then Sabka Vishwas, then Sabka Prayas. Every year one is added. Madam, I'm asking, this budget,
Please conclude, sir.
I'm concluding. This budget does not ensure Saath to the states, no Saath. This budget does not ensure Vikas to the states. This budget not taken the states into Vishwas, no Vishwas on the states. This budget does not ensure supporting the prayas of the states. No Saath, no Vikas, no Vishwas, no prayas. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you for giving the opportunity. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Vijay Reddy ji. Now, the next speaker, Srimati Jarna Das Baidya. Madam, you have 7 minutes.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Honorable Vice Chairman, sir. The Finance Minister presented the budget in the backdrop of an economic scenario when majority of the people are facing jobless and huge cuts in real income. GDP in current financial year is estimated to marginally cross the pre-pandemic levels. The private consumption expenditure is still short of the pre-pandemic levels, and industries are facing low capacity utilization and rising inventories primarily because of very low demand in the economy. Sir, मैं बोलना चाहती हूँ, जब इलेक्शन आते हैं, आश्चर्य लगता है, मैं त्रिपुरा से बिलोंग्स करती हूँ, तो क्या बोला जाता है, वो जॉबलेस जो यूथ है, उसको एक मोबाइल नंबर दिया गया, बोले मिस कॉल करने से नौकरी मिल जाएगा, लेकिन इलेक्शन के बाद जब मिस कॉल किया तो अब क्या है, इस नंबर से बोलते ये नंबर मौजूद नहीं है, ये नंबर गए। सोशल पेंशन 2000 रुपया करेंगे, कहाँ नहीं किया। और मनरेगा पर 340 रुपीज वो इंक्रीज करेंगे और 200 दिन का काम, अभी 16 डेज और 15 डेज काम होता है, इससे ज्यादा नहीं होते, और वेज भी नहीं, एक पैसा भी नहीं बढ़ाया। तो ये बोलने से क्या होते है, बजट में आना चाहिए। सर, जो मनरेगा पर इस बजट में हम लोग देखते हैं एक्सपेंडिचर बाय 25,000 crores in मनरेगा and reduce food, fuel and fertilizer subsidies and also in allocation in health and rural development. सर, मैं और एक बात कहना चाहती हूँ, जो पीएम आवास योजना, वो क्या हो रहा है, सबको घर दे रहा है, ये अच्छा बात है, सबका घर होना चाहिए, लेकिन इस घर में एलोकेशन क्या है, 1,30,000 रुपया। इसमें क्या होता है, ब्रिक फील्ड में कोई गया है, एक ब्रिक का दाम आज कितना है, 14 रुपया। इससे घर कैसे होगा 1,30,000 में? कैसे घर करेंगे? तो ये बजट में हम लोग देख रहे हैं, propose a growth of total expenditure by 1,74,909 crores from the revised estimates of 2021-22, but as percentage of GDP, the total expenditure has come down 17.8% in 2020-21 to 15.3% in 2022-23 budget estimates. तो इसमें हम लोग क्या समझते हैं? बजट में सब कुछ दे रहा है, सब कुछ ग्रोथ होगा, जीडीपी बढ़ेगा, ऐसे ही बोलते हैं। तो इस बजट में द squeegee on expenditure is not merely in the central government expenditure. These transfers are to come down from 6.915 of GDP in revised estimate 2021-22 to 6.5% in 2022-23 only. The agriculture and farmers, allocation of all major schemes for farmers have been seen budget cut. The allocation for procurement of FCI and under decentralization procurement scheme has been reduced by about 28% at a time when farmers are struggling for a legally guaranteed MSP. Allocation of farmers for fertilizer subsidy has been reduced by 25% under PM Kishan Yojana. And 12.5 crore farmer households are supposed to be provided rupees 6,000 each, which requires an allocation of rupees 75,000 crore only. Now, sir, children welfare, वो बेटी बचाओ बेटी पढ़ाओ ये स्लोगन तो है ही, हम लोग भी चाहते हैं बेटी को बचना चाहिए, बेटी मर रहा है इस देश में ज्यादा। तो चिल्ड्रन वेलफेयर के लिए रुपीज 5700 crores less than what was budget. Nothing has been done to help children cope the devastating impact of closure of schools and Anganwadis. Anganwadis worker 20 साल 25 साल से 75 में 1975 में शुरू हुआ। मैं भी CDPU थी, इस नौकरी करती थी इस डिपार्टमेंट में। तो अब से लेकर आज तक अंगनवाड़ी वर्कर का क्या हुआ? 20 साल नौकरी करने के बाद, काम करने के बाद कुछ हुआ? कुछ नहीं हुआ। 200, 100 बढ़ाते हैं। सर, STC वेलफेयर उसमें भी खामियां हैं। अब देखिए जो मिड डे मील का जो था, रेज एलोकेशन फ्रॉम रुपीज 10.234 crores despite of 35% of children not receiving midday meal during the last year. सर, नारी शक्ति के बारे में हमारा फिनेंस मिनिस्टर भी वुमेन है, हम लोग बहुत सारी आशाएं है, बहुत कुछ करेंगे। नारी शक्ति अपग्रेडिंग 2 lakh Anganwadis, but allocation is frozen at the revised estimates rupees 20,000 crores only. Sir, 1 minute.
Jarna ji, conclude please.
LPG subsidy also कविया 60% पहले है और 60% card has been inflected budget 2022-23. Now new allocation has been budgeted for the unorganized workers who were registered through e-SARM portals. Sir, therefore, the budget 2022-23 has completely failed in identifying the priorities to provide relief for the common people. It is a betrayal. Thank you.
Thank you. Now, the next speaker, Dr. M. Tambidurai.
you, Mr. Vice Chairman, sir, giving the opportunity to express my views on the budget. At the outset, I want to tell, sir, our ADMK coordinator, O. Pannirselvam, and also Joint Coordinator, Edappadi Palaniswamy, on Wednesday said that union government would generate renewed hope among the people. That is our party stand. There we are supporting this budget. So I rise to register the views of my party, All India Anna DMK party, on the present budget presented by the Honorable Finance Minister. First of all, I appreciate the enormous measures taken by the government of our beloved Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji to protect the economic interests of the country during the fearful pandemic, which has devastated the dreams and aspirations of many of all over the world. In the impact of lockdown and subsequent negative growth in the economy is felt by the countries of the world without exception. Few individuals and enterprises have gained, no doubt, but by and large, almost 90% of all industries and manufacturing units, including agriculture sector, have terribly affected and are still not sure when it will get out of this darkness. So in spite of gloom and despair all around us, the government of Honorable Prime Minister Modi had reasonably done well in safeguarding our economy. My heartiest congratulations for what have been done and best wishes for the more power to the Prime Minister. Coming to the budget 2022-23, I am come across a survey conducted by independent services involving more than 40,000 respondents residing in 342 districts of India. The survey has indicated that 20% of citizens are thrilled with the budget and they see many benefits ranging from infrastructure growth to boosting spending and creating employment. 40% believe it will derive progress in at least our area. At the same time, sir, the absence of personal tax relief has been disappointing to a sizable percentage of survey percentage. That is the answer. I am appealing the Honorable Finance Minister to consider this. As our Reddy also said, speaking, this inflation is more, but our income tax that when we are charging is still we are continuing that. Well, if you, madam, if you allow, give more concession, the consumers, the taxpayers, definitely they will spend money that will circulate in the growth, definitely. Therefore, you have to take the opportunity to give, see, that exemption must be, that tax rate, that level has to be increased, that personal tax. Sir, and also, the Finance Minister has said in the budget speech that the productivity-linked incentive in the sectors for achieving the vision of Atma Nirbhar Bharat has received an excellent response. Madam Nirmala Sitaraman mentioned that there is a potential to create 60 lakh new jobs and an additional production of rupees 30 lakh crores during the next 5 years. I earnestly hope that ambitious plan comes true. India is now the factory of the world. India is now the laboratory of the world. India is now the hub of the young in the world. More than 50% of our population is young population. We have to make use of this wonderful resource which most countries do not have. The resource of human power is more important. Our young generation is getting good education, great mobility, and above all, our youth are full of aspiration and dream to have a better tomorrow for them and to their family. Hence, I please make sure that you complete your target of 60 lakhs of new jobs. Create new mechanism to find jobs opportunity for our youth all over the world. It is not a brain drain by conquering. The world is through this, our skill labor. Sir, I would like to specially mention about the Prime Minister Gati Shakti, the 7 engines you have identified, namely roads, railways, airports, mass transport, waterways, and logistic infrastructure are the need of not only today's, but India, also tomorrow's India. With effectively and timely implemented, these 7 engines of Prime Minister Gati Shakti will transform our economy. They will provide seamless multi-modal connectivity and effective logistics which India is badly need of. Sir, our finance minister is very thought of presenting the budget. Even though there are elections in the different states, it's not tempted her. Here she is come forward to put a realistic budget. As our Reddy said previously, she is the daughter-in-law of Andhra Pradesh, but she is daughter of Tamil Nadu. I think definitely she will help more Tamil Nadu, giving more schemes. That is expecting that way. That is there. I think as budget will at us to come. Sir, Finance Minister has announced that 7.1 lakh crore in capital expenditure, an increase of 35% to bring the flagship economy back to the pre-pandemic level. There has been some attempt to assure farmers by committing rupees 2.37 lakh crore to produce wheat and paddy from 16.3 million farmers. The perennial problem in India is implementation. Large sums are allocated and grand schemes are announced, but they do not get spent as budgeted. The government is also outlined a blueprint for Amrit Kal, the next 25 years until the centenary of Indian independence of 2047. This is a laudable goal. Sir, I want to bring certain projects. For example, the Modi government has been working with the different models of public-private sector partnership and is constantly reviewing model concession agreements for the various modes of road construction of PPP. I was also Transport Minister, sir, you know, Vajpayee government brought this subject. But I am requesting Honorable Finance Minister to see that Tiruchirappalli, Karur, Coimbatore has maybe linked through 8 ways. That project is conceived already. Because when you are coming roads like that, the Tiruchirappalli connecting Coimbatore, you make 8-way road, within 2 hours can reach from Coimbatore to Tiruchirappalli, connecting airport to airport. Therefore, that is an important subject which we are requesting you already. I requested our Transport Minister, accept the project. Project is now in the government. They have to allocate the money and spend it. And also, sir, regarding the railway thing, the other big infrastructure push for fiscal 2022-23 will be for the railways, which is getting up to carry 8,595 million passengers, almost 2.5 times the number it carried in the previous year, apart from the ferrying 1,470 million tons of cargo. Sir, regarding here also, I want to request my area, Jolarapete, Bargur, Krishnagiri, Hosur, or Bangalore, has to be connected. Already the project is announced. Because I am very thankful for the Finance Minister. She announced that Hosur area, this area is an industry, that is our defense corridor. When the defense corridor, we require that kind of railway infrastructure. Therefore, connecting Bangalore to that rail will go up to Puducherry. 3 states will be connected. Pondicherry, Tamil Nadu, and Karnataka will connect this kind of scheme. Therefore, please consider it and allocate the money. So, regarding the same way, sir, airports. Airports are nothing pillars we said. You know very well, you are in Karnataka. We have to come to Hosur, means we have to spend 3-4 hours to reach the airport. Therefore, our demand is to have an airport in Hosur. Hosur is already private. Tanija airport is also there. They are ready to give for lease. And also it is Udan structure already accepted. Therefore, even the state government already given the tender. I appreciate that what they have done. Therefore, I request the finance minister to see that to bring the airport for that Hosur, that will give faster boost the development of that area and also connecting the congestion in the Bengaluru airport. That will help us. That is the thing, sir. So another regarding
You have another 2 minutes, sir.
sir, okay, sir, I'm going to conclude that. So apart from that, sir, generally, I have seen the newspaper when you are more interested to internal security. As we are allocating defense, you have to allocate more for Home Ministry also. The Home Ministry must see that law and order, even the state subject, they have to give more money to state governments. Then only they can do. Modernization more important. But at the same time, news has come, sharp fall in police exam revamped funds as many states fail to utilize them. That is the it has come. But if at all states are utilizing, center you spend it. Your IPS cadres with you. You modernize them and they depute them. We have no objection. Therefore, in turn, now, because of the law and order, many places we are facing the country deteriorating. So, there are thefts are going, child abusing, and women's insurgence and security. There are so many things. As you are giving important defense, you have to give the home, you have to save the lives of the citizens of this country. For that, you require the budget must be given more allocation for the modernization of this police force. And the centers to come forward. Without central, state government cannot do that. And also states, sir, you know GST, after coming GST, most of the funds come to the central government. Central government is telling, yes, they are getting lakhs of crores of rupees every month, go on increasing. What about the states? The states are not getting sufficient fund. That is, since your madam is telling, but because we after coming GST, I know, our party ADMK is opposed to GST. And we have not voted for at that time. It is brought by the Congress. They have only brought. It's now we are suffering. That is why the sources of the state governments are going down. Therefore, it has the high time to see that central governments to come forward to give more allocation. And also arrears. The GST arrears, lot of arrears state governments are paying. Tamil Nadu especially is also facing. Therefore, I request the Honourable Finance Minister to see that this can be, I'm going to conclude, sir. Sir, I like this. Finally, I want to say, our Honourable, I welcome the emergency security linked guarantee scheme extended by up to March 2023. The 2 lakh crores additional credit for MSME is very much needed during the pandemic situation. You have promised many more incentives and inputs to agriculture and other essential sectors. I wish you keep your target and time schedule to complete and fulfill your promises. With these words, I wholeheartedly welcome the budgets presented by the Honorable Finance Minister, daughter of Tamil Nadu and daughter of the nation of India, to see that justice been given. And I once again congratulate for Prime Minister Modi ji has given entrusted her to present this budget. I thanks once again.
Thank you, Tamidore ji. The next speaker, Shri Sukram Singh Yadav.
सबसे पहले मैं धन्यवाद दूंगा माननीय फाइनेंस मिनिस्टर जी को, जिन्होंने इस देश के बजट को पेश किया और एक महिला के रूप में पेश किया। इसके लिए बधाई के पात्र हैं। जहाँ तक मेरी जानकारी है कि जब एक महिला बजट पेश करती है तो उसकी तरक्की घर में भी होती है और घर से बाहर भी होती है। मुझे ये भी मालूम है कि इस देश की महिला वित्त मंत्री आगे देश की प्रधानमंत्री बनी, ऐसी जानकारी मेरे पास भी है। मेरी शुभकामनाएं उनके लिए। महोदय, बजट जो पेश किया गया है उसके बारे में मुझे कहना है कि इसमें हमारी फाइनेंस मिनिस्टर जी ने किसानों के बारे में 2 चर्चा की है। ये सही है कि जैविक खेती को बढ़ावा देंगी, ये अच्छी बात है। और उसी के साथ साथ उन्होंने कहा जो ड्रोन से जो खेती होगी उसमें भी इसका लाभ किसान को मिलेगा। लेकिन हमारा देश कृषि प्रधान देश रहा है और इसमें शिक्षा का अभाव रहा है। आज गांव के लोग ड्रोन से खेती करने में कैसे करेंगे, कैसे देखेंगे, उनको क्या उसको लाभ मिलेगा, शिक्षा का अभाव है, इस कारण उनको कैसी जानकारी होगी। मैं समझता हूं कि ये विषय मेरी सोच से परे है कि कैसे इसका लाभ उन्हें मिलेगा। जहां तक माननीय मंत्री जी ने किसानों को सुविधाएं भी बढ़ाई हैं, उसके लिए मैं धन्यवाद दूंगा। लेकिन तकलीफ इस बात की होती है कि इस देश में एक बड़ा किसान आंदोलन चला और किसान आंदोलन के बारे में कोई चर्चा नहीं की गई। जाने कितने हमारे किसान साथी इस दुनिया में नहीं रहे, उनका जीवन चला गया, लेकिन बजट में उसकी चर्चा कुछ होनी चाहिए थी, उन्हें कुछ सहायता मिलनी चाहिए थी, उसका अभाव मुझे दिखता है। महोदय, मैं एक बात और कहना चाहूँगा। इनकम टैक्स के बारे में बड़ी चर्चा थी कि इसमें कुछ इनकम टैक्स सीमा बढ़ाई जाएगी और लोगों के मन में विश्वास था हर बार इनकम टैक्स सीमा बढ़ती, इस बार भी बढ़ेगी। लेकिन लोगों को निराशा से हाथ लगी कि सीमा बढ़ी नहीं, लोग इंतजार करते रहे। जहां तक महामारी का प्रश्न है, भीषण महामारी में पूरा देश ने, पूरा विश्व चपेट में आया और इसलिए आर्थिक व्यवस्था चरमराई, हर देश की चरमराई, हिंदुस्तान की चरमराई, इसमें कहने में कोई संकोच नहीं है। लेकिन उसके आधार पर ऐसी योजनाएं बननी चाहिए थी ताकि उस अर्थव्यवस्था को हम ठीक कर सकें और भविष्य में उसका लाभ हमें मिले। एक बात और कही गई है, जो नई करेंसी चलाई जाएगी उसके बारे में, क्रिप्टो करेंसी और डिजिटल करेंसी। मैं समझता हूँ, मैंने जैसे पहले ही कहा कि हमारे देश के लोग में शिक्षा का अभाव है देश में, इसलिए जब तक हम शिक्षित नहीं कर पाएंगे लोगों को, इन दोनों करेंसियों का लाभ देशवासियों को नहीं मिल पाएगा। जहां तक मैं खेती के बारे में कहना चाहूँगा कि सबसे घाटे का सौदा किसानी है, खेती है। किसान जब खेत में काम करता है तो दिन रात मेहनत करता है, इसके बाद में भीषण ठंड में पानी लगाता है खेत में और भीषण गर्मी में फसल को काटता है, मारता है, तब जाकर कहीं उससे गल्ला निकलता है और गल्ले को बेच करके अपना काम चलाता है। लेकिन अभी तक ऐसी व्यवस्था नहीं कि देश में की गई ताकि किसान को जो उसकी आमदनी है, जो उसका श्रम है, श्रम की कीमत कहीं नहीं लगाई गई। मैं समझता हूँ दुर्भाग्य की बात है, हमारे देश में किसान के श्रम को बेकार समझा गया और उसकी कीमत नहीं लगाई जाती। जब तक किसान को उसके श्रम की कीमत नहीं लगाई जाएगी, उसके साथ नाइंसाफी होगी। इसके के साथ साथ मैं कहना चाहूँगा कि छोटे किसानों को लाभ देने की योजनाएं कोई नहीं रखी गई बजट में, वो आनी चाहिए थी। कि बड़े किसानों को लाभ बहुत योजनाएं रख दी गई। मैं समझता हूँ कि बजट में इसका ध्यान रखा जाना चाहिए था। जहाँ तक प्रश्न इस बात का है कि हमारे देश में हमारी अर्थव्यवस्था कैसे रास्ते पर आएगी, पहले भी फाइनेंस मिनिस्टर बहुत से लोग आए, उन्होंने इसके सुझाव अच्छे दिए। मैं समझता हूं कि हमारी फाइनेंस मिनिस्टर इस बारे में सोचेंगी और अर्थव्यवस्था को पटरी में कैसे लाया जाए इस पर विचार करेगी। अब मैं अपने क्षेत्र के बारे में कुछ बातें कहना चाहूँगा। मैं कानपुर से आता हूँ, उत्तर प्रदेश में कानपुर है और कानपुर में मैं समझता हूँ औद्योगिक क्षेत्र है कानपुर, लेकिन अब धीरे धीरे मैं समझ रहा हूँ कि उद्योग धंधे बंद होते चले जा रहे हैं, कुछ कोरोना के कारण और कुछ महंगाई के कारण। जो हमारा कानपुर चमड़े के और कपड़े के उद्योग में प्रमुख माना जाता था, आज कपड़े वाला काम पूरा बंद हो चुका है। चमड़े वाली चर्चा अभी है कानपुर की, लेकिन उसमें भी जो बढ़ावा होना चाहिए था वो बढ़ावा नहीं दिया गया, इस कारण वो भी कार्य पिछड़ रहा है। दूसरी बातें मैं कहूँगा कि जो चिकित्सा का मामला है कानपुर का, चिकित्सा में ऐसे अस्पताल तो बहुत है, टीबी का अस्पताल है, हृदय रोग है, कैंसर का अस्पताल है, लेकिन कोई ऐसा अस्पताल नहीं है जो जैसा सारे सुविधाएं हों उसमें पीजीआई जैसा अस्पताल कानपुर में नहीं है। जबकि कानपुर आबादी के लिहाज से प्रदेश का बड़ा शहर है और मजदूर कानपुर में बहुत रहते हैं। उन सब के हिसाब से कानपुर में पीजीआई एमईआर जैसा कोई अस्पताल सुपर स्पेशलिटी का बनाया जाए ताकि कानपुर के लोगों को उसका लाभ मिल सके। ये बात मैं आपसे कहना चाहूँगा बजट के माध्यम से। और इसी के साथ साथ जो कानपुर देहात है, जो कानपुर नगर का ही अंग है, अब कानपुर देहात हो गया। कानपुर देहात में मैंने देखा कि मेरे सामने ही कानपुर देहात बनाया गया, लेकिन आज 32 साल हो गए कानपुर देहात बने हुए, ना नाम तय हो पाया उसका। नाम कई बार बना फिर बदला गया। आज उसका कानपुर देहात के नाम से लोग जानते हैं। और उसमें सबसे दिक्कत इस बात की है कि कानपुर देहात में उसका मुख्यालय नहीं था। माननीय मुलायम सिंह जी जब मुख्यमंत्री थे, उन्होंने आज से 32 साल पहले मुख्यालय बनाया माती में, लेकिन मुख्यालय तो बन गया, लेकिन जो सुविधाएं वहाँ होनी चाहिए एक जिले की, वो सुविधाएं आज भी वहाँ प्राप्त नहीं है। मैं समझता हूँ वहाँ पर सबसे बड़ी सुविधा रेलवे स्टेशन की नहीं है। रेलवे स्टेशन के नाम पर लालपुर है रेलवे स्टेशन, पुखराया है और रूरा है, लेकिन आज भी कोई भी ऐसा तीनों स्टेशनों में ऐसा स्टेशन नहीं है जिसको कानपुर देहात के मुख्यालय का रेलवे स्टेशन माना जाए। मेरी मांग है, चाहे रूरा हो, चाहे लालपुर हो, चाहे पुखराया हो, तीनों में से कोई ऐसा स्टेशन हो जिसकी घोषणा होनी चाहिए कि मुख्यालय का रेलवे स्टेशन ये है। ये पहली बात मेरी है। दूसरी बात मैं कहना चाहूँगा कि इसमें हमारे कानपुर में जिस प्रकार से एक टोल टैक्स पड़ता है 12 में, और 12 का टोल टैक्स जहाँ पे टोल टैक्स लिया जाता है वो 12 और कानपुर नगर और देहात की सीमा में पड़ता है। ज़्यादातर लोग कानपुर नगर में जो रहते हैं वो रोजगार के संबंध में, नौकरी के संबंध में कानपुर देहात आते हैं। उनको आने जाने में जो समय लगता है, उसी रास्ते में जो टोल टैक्स पड़ता है उससे प्रतिदिन उन्हें 150 रुपया देना पड़ता है। जब कानपुर नगर और कानपुर देहात दोनों की सीमाएं जुड़ी हुई है और उसी जिले से जोड़ तोड़कर कानपुर देहात बनाया गया है, इसके बावजूद भी उन्हें पैसा देना पड़ता है। इससे ग्रामीणों में बहुत रोष है। मेरी मांग है कि टोल टैक्स जहाँ लगा हुआ है, यहाँ पहले लगा हुआ था टोल टैक्स जहाँ वसूली होती थी, उसका सारे चेंज कर दिया जाएगा तो इसका लाभ कानपुर देहात और कानपुर नगर दोनों को मिलेगा। और कानपुर नगर से लोग आएंगे भी, उन्हें टोल टैक्स नहीं देना पड़ेगा। कानपुर देहात सीमा के बाहर लगा दीजिए, कोई दिक्कत नहीं, लेकिन ऐसी जगह टोल टैक्स लगा रखा है, टोल वसूली का केंद्र लगा रखा है, जिससे गांव के लोगों को जो आने जाने में है उनको असुविधा होती है। ये मैं आपसे इस माध्यम से बजट की भाषण में मैं आपसे मांग करता हूं, ये व्यवस्था भी आज कर देंगे तो लोगों को लाभ मिलेगा। इसी के साथ साथ मेडिकल कॉलेज की स्थापना इस सरकार ने की, ये अच्छा काम किया। हम लोग पहले ही मांग करते थे मेडिकल कॉलेज बनना चाहिए, लेकिन चिकित्सा का जो अभाव कानपुर नगर में जिस प्रकार से है उस पर कानपुर देहात में भी है। मैं चाहूँगा कि नगर और देहात दोनों सीमाएं जुड़ी हुई है, इसलिए ऐसा अस्पताल बनवा दीजिए कानपुर में ताकि दोनों जिलों को उसका लाभ मिले। और जनप्रतिनिधि होने के नाते हम सबकी जिम्मेदारी है कि ऐसा काम हो जाएगा, सबका सम्मान बढ़ जाएगा, आपका सम्मान ही बढ़ेगा। और मैं एक बार फिर आपको बजट आपने पेश किया है उसके लिए आपका आभार व्यक्त करता हूं। बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद। जय हिंद।
Thank you, Sukram Singh ji. The next speaker, Shri A.D. Singh. Singh ji, you have 5 minutes.
I may exceed 1 or 2 minutes that you can cut from him.
If he is cutting, I have no problem. If your party is giving, no problem.
ये सबसे बड़ी बात यह है कि आरएसएस स्वदेशी मंच ने भी कहा है कि कितना अनएम्प्लॉयमेंट बढ़ गया है। ये 2019 के फिगर में 3 करोड़ था और करीब 15 मिलियन हर साल और उसमें जुड़ा जा रहा है। और अभी तक तो हम लोग कांग्रेस के टाइम में पंचवर्षीय योजना की बात करते थे, बट मुझे लगता है कि वित्त मंत्री और प्रधानमंत्री फाइनली इज हैप्पी विद द नेहरूवियन मॉडल that we should go back to planning. So instead of 5 years, they are saying 25 years. That is one. And secondly, the huge amount of tariffs that used to be there in the 50s and 60s, same they want it this time here also. The budget, I don't want, most of my colleagues have already spoken about health and rural development and everything else. So I don't think I'll take the time of the to speak on those, except that the capex which has gone in the infrastructure, I don't think they will be able to spend it. Maybe they have allotted that much to clear backlogs, for example, for NHI or something. Now I'll come straight to Atmanirbhar Bharat. Government is, whether it is our Honorable Prime Minister or the ruling party members of talking of Atmanirbhar Bharat के लिए लोग का केवल लिप सर्विस है. अब आपको इस विषय में बताता हूँ. Doing business in India is governed on the aggregate by as many as 1536 law, which on the aggregate requires 69,233 compliances. The laws are both central and state laws. These are 678 central laws that require 25,537 compliances, 858 state laws that require 43,696 compliances. These are okay with the big corporates, but for the medium industry and the small industry, वो काम क्या करेगा? Many of these laws and compliances, prison sentences are there. In fact, imprisonment clauses run into hundreds as follows. 244 central laws and 25,537 compliances have imprisonment clauses. 599 state laws and 20,895 have imprisonment clauses. I will request the Honorable FM and the Corporate Affairs Minister to set up an independent group to simply calculate the cost, both direct and indirect, in terms of time spent, for example, of the required compliances in respect of various group of industries. अगर ये इस तरह का compliance में ही हमारा time बीतेगा, तो हम business क्या कर पाएंगे? और जब हमने tariff कम किया है, हमारा export बढ़ा है. This is also the time of economic diplomacy. काफी मेंबरों ने कहा कि 1 लाख करोड़ डॉलर का इंपोर्ट चाइना से हो रहा है, बहुत चिंता का विषय है. बिल्कुल चिंता का विषय है. मगर अगर फर्ज कर ले कि आज हम 1 लाख करोड़ को 30 लाख करोड़ का बायलैटरल ट्रेड कर दें कि 15 लाख करोड़ हमारे यहाँ से जा रहा है, 15 लाख करोड़ का उनके आ रहा है, तो 1 मिनट में उनकी पॉलिसी पाकिस्तान विज़ चेंज हो जाएगी. बिकॉज टुडे इज द डे. अब फर्टिलाइजर पकड़ लीजिए. The amount of mess they have created in the fertilizer sector. ईरान से हमारे यहाँ 50% यूरिया आता था जब यूरिया का प्राइसेस $300 के आसपास था. इन्होंने यूएस के डर से ईरान से लाना बंद कर दिया. यूरिया प्राइस $1,000 हो गया. तो हम डरते क्यों हैं? We are very clear that we respect UN sanctions, not US sanctions. Today the same thing is happening in potash. The Americans are saying that we will put sanctions on the Russians and the Belarusians. We are quiet. Nobody is interested. तो और आप ये देखिए, जब 30 साल तक तो हम एम्बेसडर और क्रिएट 30,000 बनाते रहे. जब वो सेक्टर खुला तो इनफैक्ट उस समय पीलू मोदी जी ने बोला भी था कि हमारे पास 2 कार ऐसे हैं जिनका हॉर्न छोड़ के हर चीज बचता है. तो जब वो सेक्टर खुला तो टुडे वी आर exporting 4 lakh cars, and if we add commercial vehicles like scooters and everything, it is almost 30 lakhs. So हर भारतीय बिजनेसमैन बिल्कुल सक्षम है. जब तक इन compliances को आप लोग नहीं हटाइएगा, हम लोग उसी में रह जाएंगे. अब दूसरा डिपार्टमेंट का ले लीजिए, एनफोर्समेंट डायरेक्टरेट. इनकम टैक्स में अगर आप पर इंक्वायरी हुआ तो 1-2 साल में उसको एज पर लॉ ठीक कर देना है, फाइन लेना है या जो भी करना है. एनफोर्समेंट डायरेक्टर आपके यहाँ आ गया तो आप समझ लीजिए कि 20 से 25 साल तो इंक्वायरी में बिताएंगे वो. उसके बाद 10-15 साल वो केस लड़िए. तो बेसिकली अगर आप 40 साल के हैं तो 80 साल तक है. और जिस दिन आपके घर आएंगे पूरे समाज में आपका बेइज्जती हो जाएगा. इन माय पर्सनल केस देयर इज अ इंक्वायरी गोइंग फ्रॉम 2010, and when my friends asked what is happening to that, I said till I die I'll be under inquiry or either in the court. तो सारे बिजनेसमैन को तो आप बंद कर रहे हैं. पिछले 5-6 साल में मैंने 600-700 करोड़ टैक्स दिए होंगे, मगर मैं चोर हूं बहुत बड़ा. तो या तो इंक्वायरी कर, हमने तो जो प्रेजेंट ईडी चीफ है इनके पहले जो थे उनको जाके हाथ जोड़ के बोला था मैंने कि मुझे चार्जशीट कर दीजिए, मुझे भेज दीजिए, मैं कोर्ट में लड़ लूंगा. तो अगर हम चाहते हैं कि आत्मनिर्भर बने तो सबसे पहले कंप्लायंसेस हटाइए. और ये कंप्लायंसेस इज ओके फॉर द बिग कॉर्पोरेट्स, दे हैव टू मच ऑफ स्टाफ. बट जो मीडियम इंडस्ट्री या वो कर रहा है उसके लिए कीजिए. तो आप इतना कानून बनाइएगा तो कुछ हो पाएगा क्या? कुछ नहीं हो पाएगा. करते रहिए आप लोग, लिप सर्विस करते रहिए. आज इतना अनएम्प्लॉयमेंट क्यों हो गया है?
conclude, Singh ji.
Just give me 1 minute. I wish to make it that we are not going to become Atmanirbhar by erecting barriers around us, but opening up. In the 1990s, it was famously said that each time we reduced import tariffs, our export went off. We as businessmen are not scared of or shy away from competing with China or any other country. We will take them on. Just liberate us from the excesses and excesses of domestic laws that divert our time and attention and resource from the business of doing business. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, Mr. A.D. Singh ji. Now, the next speaker is Dr. Narendra Jadhav. No, you can sit and speak, no problem.
Thank you. Thank you, Vice Chairman, sir. I rise to strongly, or I sit to strongly support the budget 2022-23. I wholeheartedly commend the Honorable Finance Minister for giving the nation a visionary budget aimed at inclusive and sustainable economic growth and development of the Indian economy. Vice Chairman, sir, a budget is supposed to strike a balance between economic acumen and political sagacity. The Finance Minister has struck a fine balance between the two. It is a no-nonsense budget reflecting professional integrity of the highest order. Every budget is always meant to be a contextual one. There are two overriding or dominant considerations that seem to have weighed on the Honorable Finance Minister's mind. First, the Indian economy has staged an exceptionally smart recovery, posting 9.2% real GDP growth, rising from the depth of the unprecedented corona pandemic. And the second, financial year 2023, that is the next year, it marks the beginning of the Amrut Kal, when our nation will be transiting from India at 75 to India at 100. Both of these considerations, sir, call for laying a solid foundation for India at 100. And in my view, this is precisely what the Honorable Finance Minister has achieved in this budget. I call this budget a visionary budget because it effectively translates into action the great vision given by Honorable Prime Minister while addressing the nation on 15th August 2021. Sir, before I go into the heart of the budget, please allow me to point out some bloopers and blunders that were committed by some of our esteemed colleagues while speaking in this August House yesterday. First, I'll take on Shri Jawahar Sarkar. Shri Sarkar emphatically argued that the proposed expenditure on education as the ratio of GDP in the budget is only 1% of GDP. This is completely wrong. Even in 1951, we had greater amount of expenditure, public expenditure on education. Actually, sir, the proposed expenditure on education is around 4% of GDP, not 1% of GDP. I would urge my learned friend to get his facts straight and not mislead this August House. Secondly, nominal GDP is expected to grow at the rate of 11.1% in the next year. Economic survey, again Mr. Chidambaram quotes, that the real GDP growth in the next year, that is financial year 2022-23, is expected to be 8%. He then questioned the Finance Minister and he said, does it mean that the inflation in India in the financial year 22-23 is going to be only 3.1%? That 3.1% comes from the difference between 11.1% nominal GDP growth minus the real GDP growth of 8%. According to Sri Chidambaram, only one of the two numbers are right. One of the number has to be wrong. Either the nominal GDP growth number is wrong or the real GDP growth number is wrong. Not really, Chidambaram sir. the difference between nominal GDP growth rate and the real GDP growth rate is not CPI inflation, it is not WPI inflation. The difference between the two is actually the widest measure of inflation called GDP deflator. And the inflation based on GDP deflator, which is embedded in this budget of 3.1%, is perfectly feasible. Why? Because the average inflation rate based on GDP deflator, and I have worked out for the last 5 years, 5 years ending the pre-COVID year of 2019-20, it turns out that the average inflation rate based on GDP deflator in our country is 3.15%, which is not very different from 3.1%, which has been incorporated in the present budget. I am really surprised, in fact, appalled that a person who has been a finance minister for a long time can make such an elementary mistake. Chairman, sir, to my mind, the most important thing about this budget is that priority has been given to economic growth over fiscal consolidation. For financial year 21-22, that is the current financial year, Honorable FM had budgeted lowering the fiscal deficit as a ratio of GDP from 9.2% to 6.8%. And the Honorable Finance Minister has nearly succeeded in hitting that target, achieving that target, posting a revised fiscal deficit of 6.9% instead of 6.8%. This is excellent fiscal marksmanship. And for the year 22-23, sir, the Honorable FM has placed a budget estimate at only moderately lower level of 6.4% of GDP. Some members questioned this and said that this number is also very large, and when last time we had fiscal deficit of such large magnitude, we had an unprecedented crisis of 1991. These critics forget that during the 1991 crisis, it is true that fiscal deficit was very large, but at that time, our foreign exchange reserves were only $1 billion. Sir, today, our foreign exchange reserves are 630 billion US dollars. The situation is not comparable at all. Vice Chairman, sir, this avoidance of a sharp reduction in fiscal deficit as a percentage of GDP, especially against the backdrop of buoyant tax revenues, and that too in GST, unmistakably it implies greatly enhanced public expenditure. The best thing about this budget, sir, is exceptionally large increase in capital expenditure to the tune of as much as 7.5 lakh crore. And of this enhanced capital expenditure, again it is noteworthy that as much as 43.3% is being devoted to building world-class infrastructure of roads, railways, and so on. The strategy underlying this budget is very clear. Sharply increase public investment would entice greater private investment. It would create more jobs, more income. In turn, that would create larger consumption demand. And to meet that demand, there would be more production, and therefore there would be more jobs. This virtuous circle will lay down the foundation of a sustained economic growth as the India transit at India 75 makes a transition to India at 100. A question is being asked, sir, in some responsible quarters, why has the finance minister refrained from giving a big push to consumption, say through cut in direct taxes or through consumption vouchers? It is argued that increasing purchasing power in the hands of people would raise the consumption demand, it would mean greater production, and it would promote economic growth.
Please conclude, sir.
Yes, one more minute, sir. The Honorable Finance Minister does not seem to have accepted this logic. To my mind, sir, there are at least two reasons at this point of time to prefer investment-led growth to consumption-led growth. The two reasons being, the first is the number of social safety measures which were taken during the second wave of corona pandemic has been very large. Recall the 5 mini budgets to mitigate the devastating impact of the pandemic, some of which in fact are continued in this budget. More importantly, while both virtuous cycles, while both virtuous cycles,
Sir, your time is over.
30 seconds, sir, 30 seconds, please. While both cycles, one consumption-led and other investment-led, both are correct in principle, the virtuous cycle of investment-led growth is much stronger than the virtuous cycle of consumption-led growth. It is important to recall that economic theory talks about investment multiplier. It doesn't talk about consumption multiplier. In other words, the durable impact of enhanced public investment is much stronger than equally large increase in consumption expenditure by government. I strongly endorse this budget 22-23. Thank you, Vice Chairman, sir.
Thank you. The next speaker, Shri Birendra Prasad Bhaisya. Sir, you have 5 minutes.
Thank you, Chairman, sir. On behalf of my party, Assam Gana Parishad, I raise here to support the bill, sir. My time is very short, but I have to speak on a long budget, so it is difficult to conclude within the 5 minutes. I request you kindly consider, if possible for your end, kindly consider extend some more time, sir. Madam Finance Minister, I compliment you. In this critical time, you perform a good budget. Because election of the UP, election of the other state is knocking the door, people in general thought that your budget will be focused on to get vote in election, but you are not doing this thing. This budget is a growth-oriented budget. In your speech, Madam Finance Minister, you have said, we expect in coming year, our economic growth is going up to 9.2%. In this critical time, it is a very good, it will be very good growth, and definitely with this good growth, now we can compare other development country in the growth area also. Sir, Prime Minister took lots of initiative for the infrastructural development, socio-economic development of our country, sir. PM Gati Shakti is transferable approach for the economic growth and sustainable development. The approach is driven by the 7 engines, namely roads, railways, airport, ports, mass transportation, waterways, etc. In infrastructure, this budget has given lots of opportunity.